This man was looking in the window from the outside, and as I squeegeed down this window over the defrosters, that damn clip let go of the blade, and I f***ed his defrosters up in front of his eyes. I could hardly afford to pay attention, much less buy him a window for this 94 T-Bird, because it was 95, and that was a fairly new car. One thing about it, you know, you learn from your mistakes, and I was a machinist, and I thought, you know, I'm never having this problem again.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Born to Tint podcast with Miller Brothers. I'm Ricky, and I'm glad to be here with my big brother, Josh.
What's going on, everybody? Today we have a very special guest, Nick with Fusion Tools. I actually feel bad that we haven't done this one sooner. Known this guy for a really long time, had an awesome conversation. There's going to have to be a round two of this one. Check it out.
So like when I went as a machinist, one of the things I remember the first day I went as a machinist to Rankin Technical School, I got this Kennedy box, and my Michitoyo calipers were in this box, and the micrometers, everything was in this kick-ass foam. I never forgot that, dude. And every time I use them, I put them back, and it's awesome. And I still have that box. So I always wanted to do that for window tinters, because when I go to these training facilities, and I've been to Brazil, and I've been all these places helping Matico and stuff, it's always a hodgepodge, dude.
Yeah.
These motherfuckers got them in like a fucking bag, and it looks like shit, right? And what's really wild is, dude, my wife isn't on board with this. Dude, she's always been on board. She hasn't been on board lately. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with her. She's like got postpartum. I don't know, dude. She's off her fucking rocker. But check this out, dude. So I'm just doing this, dude, and I hope I don't have inventor's block, but I'm gonna show you what I'm building.
No, I think I'm already going to say yes, because that's something my sister's been bugging me about.
Look at this, dude. Tell me if I'm wrong, dude. Tell me, because I have to hear it. Because I believe friends tell you what you want to hear.
I'll be honest.
True friends tell you what you need to hear. So.
I want to know where you got the damn necklace.
My wife had it made for me, dude. That's $8,500. That's all platinum.
Oh, that's
black diamonds, and that's all black diamonds. That's a real one.
And that's all for silver, baby.
Oh,
that's all platinum.
Fuck red dots.
That's all platinum. So there it is. That's a metal box.
See, I like that.
That's a metal box.
Oh, that would be awesome.
I like
that's
that.
Not real expensive, but that's no joke, dude. So like your handles go in there, squeegees go in there, extra blades. A bulldozer can go in there. Up here, there's straps. You can't see them in the picture, but all your other incidentals can go in there. That way, when your guys leave, they got it. And then when they become tinters, they can take that on their job. And for guys that go out of town doing...
Yeah, and the box can be branded too, right?
Well, it is branded. It's got Fusion Tools, and let's just say that you guys want 25 of these. We have in-house printers, and we'll put Green Valley Window Tint Academy. Or
Born to Tint Academy.
Born to Tint Window Academy, and it won't look like bullshit. It'll look like real.
Yeah.
On it. Or Matico wants, like, what sucks is, this is funny, my wife isn't on board for it. And I thought, am I bullshitting myself about this? So I called Steve Wood, because he's a director now. He's a badass there at Matico. Not that he wasn't. It's like, Steve, am I wrong? He goes, fuck no. He goes, will he hurt your feelings? I'm like, yeah. He goes, if you had these last week, we'd have taken 160 of them. I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, I plan on doing a class a month, and I mean, we were thinking 6 people, but the more I think about it, I think I'm going to reduce it to 5. I think 6 is too much to try to teach people. So for the first year, we'll need 60. And then I hopefully get traction doing more than one class a month.
Here's Steve Woods. What he told me, he goes, Nick, he goes, it only makes sense. He goes, at our training facilities, he goes, when we train people, the student's paying for it anyway. So if the box costs, not including the tools, but if the box costs, let's say the box costs $30 or costs $50, they don't care, because they're just passing that cost to the tinter.
Yeah.
And they want them to have that so that the teacher can say, grab your red hard card or your blue hard card or your, and everybody has the same thing. Because right now what they have is a hodgepodge. People are like, well, I got my blue max and I got my orange, I got my red light, and everybody's got something different. They don't want that. They want everybody to have the same thing. So everybody grabs on the left side of this, and there's,
so they haven't come to market yet.
Oh, I'll have it very soon. This is already happening. This is not a dream. This is already in the works.
We're going to need some of those.
This is already happening. This is being built right now. I'm making this. This is not a dream. This is already happening. Like I said,
and we can customize like what tools we want in there.
Yeah, and what's cool is that foam cutout. If you don't want something in it, you don't have to cut that out, or you can not include it, or you can, you know what I'm saying? You can put something in it. It's an awesome thing. And I'm even going to have a bigger version for like safety security film that'll hold like my stretches So it'll have stretch ones. And what's awesome about it is like when you put your tools back in there, your blades won't get beat up, and you'll have a spot in there to put extra blades. So really, even for guys like us that go doing
It's a travel toolbox.
travel toolbox,
That
when you go
keeps
into a
your shit
house
or
you
go
keep
to
your tools in.
go to compete.
Yeah.
even.
And you go to compete, you're
Yeah.
a professional.
Yeah.
When your guys walk in, you're an Autobahn guy or you're a Solar Guard guy, you look professional, dude. You know what I mean? And these are real. These aren't some bullshit. This is something that Fusion Tools does.
Okay.
You know, that's what I told my wife. It's something that we've always done is we've always dotted our I's and crossed our T's. We always do things. We always deliver at the highest level. Someone might be able to copy something, but they will never deliver on the level we do.
No, I mean, anytime, like I said, anytime I've picked up a tool, I know pretty fast if it's Fusion or not, just by using it. But holding it in your hand, and then let alone even when it comes to the blades, like any of the knockoff blades, it just doesn't feel the same.
Yeah, this max line of our PPF blades, you're gonna freak. I have them with me. You're gonna shit when you feel them.
Better than the orange ones?
Oh yeah. Well,
Because I love those orange ones.
they're awesome. But wait till you feel the max line. The orange ones are the big brother of the max line is the big brother of the max. Are the orange ones? You would not have the orange ones. But when you're doing a hood, the max line is just a harder diameter and it's got more girth. So when you're doing a flat area of a hood or a door,
Yeah.
it doesn't leave any water behind.
That was always my way. I would say that'd be my feedback. Is that I would want
So
something
it's
like that.
just a little harder diameter and a little bit more girth. And it's amazing what that does because you can't push any harder on the orange one to get more water out. You could bend it son of a bitch damn near 90.
Yeah, but it's
and it
not
doesn't
yet.
give any more water
Yeah.
out. But when you go 4 points harder on the durometer scale and add just a little bit more girth to the thickness, all of a sudden there's no water left. It's just incredible. But and there's no blade out there like that. There is not one that doesn't exist.
Going to your orange ones. I mean, I used to use my other ones constantly, and now I don't. I use the
Yeah.
orange ones now.
I mean, and tools make you money, dude. That's what people need to understand. Tools make you money.
Couldn't agree more. I tell all my guys, tell me what you want, and as long as it's within reason.
Yeah.
And like
I mean-
you're not like, hey, I want one of everything. I'm like, all right, that's not good. What do you actually use? Tell me what you use, and when you need to replace, let me know, because you being more efficient and quicker and getting the job done better only makes you more money, makes me more money, it makes everyone more money.
Yeah, your shop's nice here, man. This is what you need in your shop. This is what your shop needs. Like for them orange ones, you need this right here. So this goes with all our orange ones right here, bud.
Holder? Yeah.
If you've not seen it,
No, because right now we just put up a metal pegboard, and Brennan just organized all the
So,
tools,
you
and
know,
that's
like-
where he found a spot on there with the magnets. They all just get laid
so
up
you
there in the
know how,
magnets.
like you have your really kick-ass cell boards, or they're acrylic from like XPEL and Solar Guard and all that.
Yeah,
So you have this.
sounds like something I'm about to buy.
Oh, you'll have it. It's killer. I'll send you them.
That's the other thing I told Brennan when we did the whole
And
remodel.
what's really funny is, you know, when you go to Taco Bell and all the hot sauces have funny quotes.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like for you guys? It's,
So-
you've already nailed the strap on, hand job, handy.
There you go. There'll be funny quotes behind every one, like "put me back" or "where'd I go." So there's that wall plate right there.
Oh, that's perfect.
So, and every one squeegee magnets to every
Yeah.
spot.
That's what's up right now. It's just stuck to but we have a blue metal pegboard that we bought.
That's acrylic wall plate that goes there. There's one for the Max line. There's one for the standard PPF line. And every one of our tools, even the new back jabber, like that back jabber you have done to it, it also has the ability to go right to the wall.
Oh,
magnetic.
that goes hand in hand because
every
that's
one of our tools. You don't tell people this shit, but like our new Fusion handles, they will even have the ability to every handle will, all the tools will just they will all be able to go to the wall.
Yeah.
There's the tool containment is insane the way everything's going to be.
No, that's smart. That's always been my biggest gripe when it comes to. My dad used to hound us constantly about keeping shit organized and picking up.
Organization's everything.
Oh, I realize it now, but now I got to make sure my guys do it. Or no, I don't make sure my guys do it. Brennan has to do that because that's his job. That's not
You know,
my
if you
job.
left a tool in the car.
I just go to Brennan
Oh,
and say,
yeah.
and I let him know what happened. He's got to take care of it. So even for
Yeah, how many times does that happen?
All the time.
All the time.
Especially if it's a snap-on $30
Yeah.
Yep.
pick tool or a socket.
So many bulldozers.
No, even if
left
we're talking about one of your damn handles with a new blade in it, and it's like I just bought a whole bunch of these. Why are we down to 2? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I know exactly what happened. Some customers ended up with some cool ass squeegees. Damn it!
And sometimes they bring them back.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
When the customers bring it back, I love holding it over the guy's head. Hey guys, look what I found. Oh, look at this. And it's like, come on, you know. But I've done the same thing before, so I really can't. I can't be too hard on.
Yeah,
them.
but having that's nice.
No,
Just
that's
make sure you always throw it back up on the wall.
No, I love that. That's smart.
Oh, dude, the containment system, it's been what I've been wanting to do.
No, that's smart because that goes hand in hand. You get the people, especially when the people are like, I just want to buy these couple of squeegees, and then they end up getting that board, and then they get to stare at the board and they don't have the other ones, and it's just going to screw with them. And they're going to be like, I got to buy the rest of them, and then they're going to finally. I mean, that you can get away with having a few just because if you're trying to keep it, stay on a budget, getting into it, I get it. But eventually, every single one of those has its use and purpose. You'll find a crevice or a surface you're trying to get to where you're like, damn, I wish I had that
I did an
one.
M50 the other day, a BMW M50.
Those are fun.
You had for the grill was a nightmare. It hit all the little pieces that do this.
Those suck so much. I know
My little
exactly
half-inch
which
and
car you're
1-inch.
talking about.
To have that 1/2 and 1-inch pieces, dude, it made all the difference in the world. And it's not because I make them. And that's why I make these tools. It's why my tools are what they are, is because I actually do what you do. I feel your pain.
Oh, I used to just cut squeegees up.
Exactly.
And just you have your little baby pieces. And
That's right.
It's for that
And
one
that's
spot.
why it works like it does. I mean, that M50 grill is a nightmare. And, you know, it's like you say, it's that's why things evolved where they're at, is because I can feel the pain that's out there. Like the DAP system didn't have a pattern. I made one of the patterns, you know, on that grill. Yeah. Having the right tool makes that job that much easier. I couldn't even fathom doing that squeegee with a turbo. Like doing that grill with a turbo would just blow, dude.
Yeah, it does.
That would blow. I couldn't even imagine. To do that grill with a turbo, and I make turbos. Ain't no way, dude.
Oh, it sucks.
It's wild.
It's that's. I mean, you just start butchering your tools. You have to start cutting up your tools, and you have it for that one piece, and you're like, well, I hope I get to use this again at some point. And the majority of the time, it ends up getting hucked anyway, just because you don't run across it constantly. But to actually have a tool that's actually designed for that exact spot, and then somewhere to organize it too. That's also a big thing too, because those.
I would love to know what a squeegee produces an income for a guy. Like you guys would know something like that. Like you know, people complain about, oh, this tool costs a lot of money. And
Yeah.
like, what do you think a fusion handle produces for a gentleman like you? It would blow your mind.
Yeah.
Well, the handle's not necessarily. I don't think I've actually blown through a handle before, so the handle's gonna last for as long as I'm tinting.
Yeah.
It would just be the blades.
Blade handle.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking hundreds of,
Oh yeah. I mean, how long are we talking?
it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, we're
Guys come to us and they're like, well, I can buy that handle. I can buy this whatever handle for $12. And I'm like, it's so irrelevant.
Yeah.
Get a handle that's ergonomically correct, that fits good and works good, whether it's my handle or whoever's handle. I'm not talking about talking you into buying my handle. Get what works for you.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're going to make a lot of money if you do your job well. The tool is a moneymaker. If you're an auto mechanic and you buy a Snap-on scanner that costs $7,000, it's going to make you money. It's going to take you a lot longer to return that.
But he will eventually, and then it's gonna make you more efficient too. I mean, the time saved alone, you can't technically even quantify what that would actually be.
What's crazy to me is how fortunate we are now to have people like you that have been like innovating and creating stuff. Because I can remember back when I started having a yellow turbo and a white hard card, that if you wanted a triangle card, you cut that thing in half and sanded it down, and that was your triangle card. And then maybe a little chiseler might have been the next thing that was like that was the pink little chiseler, a bone, a white card cut in half, and a yellow turbo for years. And you just kind of had to make it.
I was there, dude. There was a guy named Bud Woods. He was my salesman, and he would come with a 5-gallon bucket every other month or so as a Solar Guard salesman. And he would come with like cake dressing tools and stuff from like Kmart and stuff.
Yeah.
With ideas. I literally remember the day he came with a clipboard.
Oh yeah, we've used those.
for doing a back window.
Yeah.
I remember
I've
it,
used
dude, doing
it.
a back window, and I'm like, a clipboard? What are you talking about, bud? And we did this back window, and it was freaking awesome, dude. I'm like, are you shitting me?
You know what's funny is I heard about that, and while I was in the Army tinting a buddy's car in my garage, I realized I couldn't get the light out, and I found a clipboard, and that's how I got it down.
Do you guys know what tool got me into window tinting? Do you know how I got into tools?
It was the Orange Crush, wasn't it?
Well, that's the tool that I made. Yeah, but do you know what got me into tool making? This scenario.
No.
It's pretty funny. It's so I was in my ex-wife's mom's garage tinting a 94 T-Bird.
Oh fuck that.
Fun.
All right. And I was putting on HP Charcoal 20. When you have a bad day, it's like a tattoo in your brain. You never forget.
Oh yeah.
That's anytime you take.
Yeah.
This is embarrassing, and you can put this online, and I'll be that guy that you guys can let people make fun of me for saying this stuff. But this was back in the day. This is back in I'll tell you what year it was. This was 90. This was 90. This was 1995. It was the year I graduated high school. And I was still having to put back windows in at this time in 2 pieces. Because film honestly wasn't to the point where on a 94 T-Bird, I wasn't able to do the back window every time in 1 piece. There was times I could get it shrank in 1 piece, and I would attempt to try to get it on in 1 piece.
Installing it was a
dude, it's
bigger
a nightmare.
problem. Yeah.
Right.
It's a nightmare.
But I was trying to be a badass and get it on in 1 piece. But in this particular situation, I had a waiter. I had a customer that was waiting. And I'm in my ex-mother-in-law's garage, and I got this customer watching me. And I'm doing this one in 2 pieces. And I got the top piece on. And I'm going to put the bottom piece on. I shrink it and I trim it. I go to put it on, and I've got my Unger squeegee that everybody knows so well, the squeegee handle that has the push button clip that you push the clip that on there.
Yeah.
And I've got a Blue Max blade in it because that's where it was. It was a Blue Max blade and an Unger handle and a yellow turbo, like you had mentioned. And this man was looking in the window from the outside, from the back of the car, looking at me. And as I squeegeed down this window over the defrosters, that damn clip let go of the blade, and I fucked his defrosters up in front of his eyes and ruined the defrosters on this back window.
No.
And at that time in my life, I could hardly afford to pay attention, much less buy him a window for this 94 T-Bird, because it was 95, and that was a fairly new car.
Yeah.
So I had to buy him a new window.
Do you remember how much it cost?
It was a lot, dude. And this man was not settling for anything less than going to Ketting Ford.
Yeah, I want that.
It went to Ketting Ford. It wasn't going to a glass shop.
I want that OEM glass, son.
He wanted OEM glass, and it was sickening, man. It was a. I mean, I know it's just glass, but it was life altering for me right then and there, because right then and there I wasn't a very good businessman. Probably wasn't charging enough for window tint then. I was doing it as a side gig.
Yeah.
Because I was a machinist. I was doing it at night. And one thing about it, you learn from your mistakes. And I was a machinist, and I thought, I'm never having this problem again. And
So it's a good thing that happened, though.
it was a beautiful thing.
I mean, at that time, I've definitely have had that instance where we've broken something of extreme expense, and we got to pay for it. It wasn't a good feeling, but I will say I've never experienced it to where it's like I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. Like that's one thing with the business that because of our dad, I'll never experience. Like I've experienced the struggle and the fact what I could witness as a kid and watching the company kind of struggle up and down just through economic times and stuff like that. But the actual weight of breaking something and thinking how in the hell I'm going to cover this while I'm still trying to do
Well, at that point in my life, not to get too personal, but that was 90. That was, I was a pretty young cat at that point in my life, and I didn't have a lot of money. I was a young man, and it was more money than I I wanted the stomach to have to spend, I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew one damn thing. I was going to come up with a solution for this. And I've always been one of those guys, in our neighborhood from a very young age. It was always a Nicky rig. That's what they said. A Nicky rig. That's what it was. I was always the fixer. I was always fixing things in our neighborhood. And at a young age, I was always fixing things. So at the machine shop I worked at, I co-opted in high school. I asked my boss, the guy that owned the shop, if I could make something after work. And he said, yeah. So I worked at this machine shop and I started making a CNC machined handle that ultimately became what everybody knows today as the Fusion handle. At that time, I called it the Crusher 5 handle. And it was
that's a really tinter name.
What's that?
That is a tinter name right there. Crusher 5.
It was the Crusher 5 handle.
That is a tinter name right there.
It was a Crusher 5 handle. And I'm probably going to do a retro remake of that handle.
You should call it the T-Bird.
Yeah, it should be the T-Bird.
You should call it the T-Bird.
It should be the T-Bird.
You should call it the T-Bird.
I ain't gonna lie. It kind of gave me a chill there for a second. I ain't gonna lie. That T-Bird was a real bastard.
I can think I've done just because obviously it's not a very common car. I know I've done at least 3 or 4 of them, and I welcome them now because it's a fun challenge. Because when I first did it, it was I could tint, but I didn't know what I know now. Now it's like when I get an old school car, I'm a little jealous. You saw the Camaro.
I think it's awesome. If you know where one is right now, we'll do one tonight. I love a challenge, dude. Like we were talking about that Model X windshield. I never even got to tell you what that cost was and the bad price on it. And I'll tell you that later. It's a little funny, but it turned out awesome. But anyway, that Crusher 5 handle, I didn't have a name for it, but I machined this thing and I made it for me. I didn't make it to become the handle that ultimately became the symbol that's on your hats today.
I know. I didn't. When you said that too, I looked at it, I'm like,
because my handle became the handle that's on the boxes and the hats and the silhouette of what people commonly use on their artwork and things. And a lot of people that are new or a lot of people that don't know any better, and not because they are being rude or don't know, they just don't know who I am. A lot of people don't. I think it's funny because a lot of people will talk to me. They don't know that I tint.
Yeah.
And I don't know, whatever, but the Crusher 5 handle like I said, didn't even have a name. I just made this handle and I was tinting with it. And this, like I said, this guy, Bud Woods, was my rep. And if Bud's ever, I should make a trip to Ohio and talk to Bud Woods one day again, because Bud was my rep and he came to my shop and he's seen this handle that I made. And it was pretty cool. Like a lot of things that are billet machined, it was pretty impressive being a billet machined handle. He said to me, he goes, Nick, you should take that handle and go to this show in Las Vegas called the SEMA show. You'd probably sell a lot of them. And at that time in my young life, I thought, yeah, I should do that. And by this time, it was like 96. And I'd never been anywhere like Las Vegas. Never thought about going to a SEMA show. And life happens, and 97 comes along, and life happens, and I'm just doing my thing, dude, tinting windows. And 97 comes along, I lost my father. And when you lose your leader, it's pretty rough. And it put us back a little bit. And I continued on my deal. And I kept doing what I do, and I tinted windows, and I stayed as a machinist and did my thing. And as you'd know, I finally got to where I could make it to where I could go to this SEMA show, never knowing what SEMA was. Had no idea that this thing would have the magnitude of what it was. What's funny about this is I had to have had the same look on my face when I got there as a friend of mine that we invited from another country that never left his country, and we invited to come here. He had the craziest look on his face when he landed here. He's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, "This is Las Vegas, and this is the SEMA show." And he was just blown away. And then when he drank Mountain Dew for the first time, he's like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, and then he shipped it back, and it's just like that was my look on my face when I got to SEMA. I'm like, because I brought my mom and and my family, and we're like, anyway. So I brought this handle here and like a wannabe, businessman, and I knew nothing about business. I took this handle around and I talked to film companies. And at that time, there was not all these white box companies that we have today. It was a different world than what we live in today.
Yeah.
There was the film companies.
Or the big guys.
The big ones, the Lumar, the Solar
There
Guard.
was like 5.
There was like 5, okay?
Yeah.
And there was like an awesome company that was a tool company called, Performance Tools. That's now known as 44 Tools. And there was a really cool guy that owned the place, George. And he's a really badass businessman, and he had a tool company that had a booth at SEMA. And I didn't know any of these people, man. They sold Lumar film. And I walked this trade show like a lot of people do today. And I talked to people and I showed them this handle that I made from years past. And people were like, "Man, this handle is really nice you made." And some film companies were like, "Yeah, we'd probably be interested in buying some of them," And some people literally said the words of like, "We'd buy like 100 or 200." And it's funny to talk about it today because to hear somebody tell me they'd buy 100 or 200, I was feeling like, this is going to sound stupid, but like a little Musk or something, like I'm going to be wealthy,
Yeah.
which wouldn't amounted to nothing. A couple hundred handles is a joke, dude, but it felt so big to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
A couple hundred handles. I'm like, hell yeah, dude, this is awesome. Well, then I ran into George Lewis, and the badass that he is or was. He's passed now, and in performance, and George loved the handle, and he said, yeah, he wanted it. He goes, "I want to buy them," and he kept trying to get to buy them from me, and he wouldn't really let me leave his booth. He's like, "I want to buy those. Can you make more of those?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I can make more of them, but I'm going to make them, instead of being billet machined, I'm going to make them cast aluminum, and that's the best way to make mass produced versions of them." And he said, "I'm very interested," and he was really very polite to me to want to buy them from me. And I went on walking to other booths like people do, and I went to other film companies, and then I ran into Solar Guard's booth. And I ran into a guy there at Solar Guard that is a very, very good businessman. He's maybe not the most polite, but he's a badass, and he knows business and he knows how to do things. And probably without running into him, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. Not probably, definitely wouldn't be, because Larry helped me out a bunch.
I was going to say Larry.
Larry Constantine.
Yeah,
it's Larry Constantine, but because he is what he is.
Yeah.
He is what he is. I mean, he's
that's the best way to define him.
You look, man, he is what he is. He is good at what he does. That's what he does. He's a businessman. And he literally wanted what I had. And he said to me, "Don't do anything till after this show, and we'll talk after this show." And he said, "Don't sell these to anybody. Wait till after this show." And he pretty much he just told me, he goes, "Don't sell any of these till after you talk to me after the show. Wait till you get home." And it was just kind of really weird to me, like, don't do anything after the show, don't sell anything to the show. I was like, kind of bossing me around more or less, I was like, it was just weird to me because I was just a dumb young kid that didn't know anything. And I mean, I just minimal, business wise, and I was like, yeah, whatever, and seen George again, and George is still trying to buy tools. And I'm like, well, George, I can't do anything because Larry, he wants to. And George is like, don't sell him tools to him. I'm going to buy them from you. And it just kind of became a tug of war thing. Well, long story short, I went home and ended up with a lot of tool order from Larry, a lot. And a lot more than I could afford to even manufacture. I couldn't even afford to make the amount that he wanted me to make. And he gave me a stipulation of the delivery date was really not even realistic for me. And to make the handles and the blades. And to be honest with you, I didn't even have the money to produce them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do? Because I truly didn't have the money to produce it. Well, I knew a guy that I had done some machine work for that was somewhat of a friend of mine. And I knew he had injection molds made at a place in Missouri. And I knew Dave well. And I was like, Dave, what would you do in this situation? And he goes, Nick, because I know a guy at a tool company, an injection molding company that can make those molds for you for the blades, and I'll put a good word in for you. He goes, you've been a hardworking guy for me, Nick. He goes, you've always made molds for me and done work for me. He goes, I'll put a good word in for you. I go, okay, whatever, So I went out to Washington, Missouri, and I met this guy named Wally Hellebush. And Wally Hellebush shook my hand so goddamn hard, about broke my fucking fingers, because I showed him this paperwork of this purchase order, and it was a lot. And this man said, son, because I'm going to build this molds for you on a handshake. And he said, you better pay me when you get paid. Because I didn't have any money to pay him.
But he knew that you had the order.
He knew that I would pay him.
Yeah.
He goes, when you get paid, you make sure you pay me. I said, I will, sir. And I did. And he made the molds, and I built the tooling for the handles, because that's what I do. I build tooling for the molds to build the handles. So I built the Crusher 5 and the Crusher 8 handles. And as the story went, I was such really a bad businessman, like some people are today. They don't really understand how hard it is to be in business. I didn't price this stuff well enough to where I really made money. I made enough money just to pay. I broke even, really. By the time I paid for everything, there was nothing left for me. I paid for the parts, and there wasn't really nothing left for Nick, really. But I'm not saying it was a bad thing, because look where we're at today. I've done well. I ended up making more purchase orders than Larry does what Larry does, and he sold a lot of tools for me. And he did great with Solar Guard in my company. And I got to tell you, George Lewis wasn't a big fan of me, because they ultimately ended up making a handle like mine, and they tried to be competitors of mine. They didn't do so well. He did not care for my decision, but I got to tell you, we became very good friends later in life. And I'll be honest with you, some things in life you would say I would go back and change it because we weren't buddies there for a while, but I wouldn't change one bit of it, because the end was almost a storybook ending. Because before George passed, I can't almost tell you the story without getting tears in my eyes of how awesome our friendship ended up being, and the things that George talked to me about, because George invited me to the last dinner before he passed.
Damn.
And the things that he told me are priceless, because when I sat at a dinner table that George invited me to, I was talking to a friend of his, and he nudged me. And this is long after this all went down, and after we did really well in life, and we rebuilt, and they became a great customer of ours. And I thought I had made him upset, because he did get offended if you cussed around his wife or his daughters, because he's a very respectful man.
Yeah.
I thought I had said something wrong, and he said, "Don't say that, Nick." And I thought I had cussed or something. I go, "What'd I say, George?" And he goes, "You said you were lucky." I go, "Well, I have been lucky." He goes, "You ain't been lucky, Nick." He goes, "We tried so hard to put you out of business." He goes, "And the harder we tried to put you out of business, the better you got." He goes, we tried our butts off to put you out of business. And the harder we tried, the better you got. He goes, you tried hard, man. He goes, and you've done well. And it was the best compliment. And he gave me a gold-plated knife. And apparently that's a huge compliment from George.
Yeah.
So it was a great relationship. And that's,
well, I mean, there's not much you can really be. I mean, that's one of those things I think eventually, obviously, at the first point of it, of course, he's going to have feelings about it. He really wanted it. And then beyond that, he's trying to push his way to get back at you. And then in the long run, it just ended up making tools better and better. And then realizing that it's business. That was a business decision. There was nothing personal behind that.
Nothing.
Yeah. So it's.
That's cool that it kind of came full circle like
it
that.
made it. I wouldn't change 1 second of it. And I don't know, man. It was just an amazing journey, the whole thing. And it's, don't get me wrong. We still have our struggles, and we make tools, and that's what we do. And we still have our struggles, but those struggles are what make you stronger. You can't appreciate a good day without a bad day, and you can't.
Oh, 100%.
You can't. And struggles are what make you better. Competition make you better, without a doubt.
That's why I love competing.
Competing makes you better.
That's the main reason I love competing. And then all the people that comment like, "Oh, what else are you guys going to compete against?" It's like, honestly, my biggest drive to go is like, yeah, it's cool to say you're the best, but at the same time, that's the only way I can get better.
Good fair competition is good.
Yes.
Nobody likes unfair competition or low blows.
Yeah.
Good fair competition is good. I've got some good companies that we compete against, and it's great. There's people that we just, we compete against. That's fantastic that we build things domestically on the same level, and it's good competition. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And we do what we do, they do what they do, and that's what it is. That's business.
Yeah. Everybody's following the same rules. It's the problem is when you get out of the country and they're playing by their own set of rules. Right?
Correct. Well, you can't compare. Some people use the sayings, apples to oranges. Okay. Yeah. But whenever you're comparing making things here domestically and buying stuff here that is American made urethanes, or making things here, compared to other companies maybe importing things, or somebody that didn't go through the development stages of building something.
Yeah,
because when you build a mold, there are processes that, unless you've ever done it, you don't understand. Because you can build a mold for a device like maybe this piece here. It may seem so simple, but you build a mold that may cost $20,000, cost $50,000. And just because you built it and you engineered it and you hired an engineer or you did it or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's going to work. And you have these trials that you go through, and you might have to. We have a mold right now that I've spent a lot of money reworking it, and we'll send it out and we'll get it worked on again, and we'll change the gating, we'll change this and change that, and we keep reworking it to get it to the perfect state. What's really unfortunate is once we get it perfected, now a person or a foreign country or a person can send that part and have it copied for a fraction of the cost and never have to deal with
the repercussions
or the worries of all the hurdles that I had to deal with. And they can sell it for a fraction of the cost. Or like chemicals, for example, we could go through all the work of making a chemical like All-Type, because we did. It's not a rebottled something. I made All-Type because there were so many problems with the solutions that were out there. I had a real chemist get involved and find out what really needed to be made and removed for the adhesives in our industries.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is it's really simple for somebody to take all the work that I did, take it to a chemist and go, can you reduplicate this? And they can do that. And then just throw some color in it or a different fragrance and say they did it. So the integrity, it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's a different thing. And if you could sleep at night and do that, I guess whatever. I don't do that. I stay in my lane. I do what I do. Hey man, everybody's got their own thing. Yeah. I don't do that. That doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't or do. Whatever. We all do our own thing, and I think that's what makes us all who we are. You know, it's but those type of things make us stronger. What doesn't kill you will make you stronger.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you wouldn't keep innovating and having to make something better if that hasn't been happening. You know?
Correct. It does make you stronger and better. It keeps the innovation going. I promise you, that is what drives a person to be better. If you will get complacent, you will get to the point where you'll just good enough is good enough. That's just how it is. Some people will say that doesn't happen, but it does happen.
Yeah, I think everybody has a different level of where that point is.
It happens.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody come in, and maybe if you're a race car driver, and I do love racing, you got to have somebody come in and bump your fender and kind of give you a little bump draft to make you want to drive a little harder. You know, if you're out front leading, you need somebody to come in and give you a little bump. Look in your rearview mirror and see somebody.
Why
because all of a sudden,
because when we compete, you're my bump.
When you're competing, the competition. You know the worst place.
Hey, when I whoop his ass this year, you're gonna be there, right?
I'll be there.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the great thing is he's feeding you right now. It's great.
Just wait.
Every time he talks, he feeds me because it's like I hear this.
I want you.
That's good. That's good for both of you.
Oh, I love that.
The worst place to be in a race is in the front.
Oh yeah.
Any racer will tell you that.
Oh yeah.
It's nerve-wracking.
Everybody's drafting off you.
They're it's just nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And then one of the really one of the worst things you can do is to show your front end or to show the leader where you're at or to nudge them, because all you're going to do is ruffle their feathers and make them push harder.
Yep.
And they're just going to pull away.
Yep.
Because they didn't get in front by accident. They're not in front by luck.
Yeah.
They're in front because they're badass. They didn't, Kyle Larson didn't get there because they just stuck him there. He's a badass. Don't make him flex, because that dude will lap you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And all I'm saying is, they say funny sayings like don't poke a bear or whatever, those are real sayings. It ain't just because it rhymes or it just goes together. Sometimes you got to get poked. It just makes things better, makes things stronger, makes the competition all the more better. I mean, if your competitions that you go into, if they weren't as intense, it would be boring.
Oh, I agree.
I think it's kind of fun when they get sort of really close, or where I'm not a big fan of the drama, if you will, some of the screaming or the yelling.
Yeah.
I like respect.
I think there's a spot for different there. Like for me, like WFCT, I love that competition because of how exactly it is. Like no talking, nothing. But I'm also happy though that the other competitions have popped up because they're complete opposites.
Well, so you gotta have both. I agree.
So you get to you get to be a little bit more rambunctious, have a little fun.
Without a doubt,
edge is still there. But then it makes in my eyes WCT even more nerve-wracking, because if you go compete at any of the other competitions, you're used to being able to talk and do all these things, and then you get thrown into a pit. If you talk over this rail, you're disqualified. As soon as you step into the arena, silence, or you're disqualified. And just to let you know, everyone around you will rat on you instantly. If not, they'll snap a blade and throw it your way to DQ your ass. Yeah. So you have to be on your toes the entire goddamn time. And it's like, then they've put, they walk the floor before the competition, after the cleanups, and make sure they quadruple check. I mean, I do it here. I screw with my guys when we do our internal competition. When we were doing it, we'd judge a window and I'd snap a blade and throw it on the ground. And then now they get to come in and think, did I leave that there? It's like, I don't know. Did you? Well, I don't know. And it's like screwing with them. It's like, because that's how it's going to feel when you go compete at WFCT. You are on a high wire pressure, just sitting there the entire time, hoping that you didn't forget something, hoping you didn't leave something out.
Every competition isn't for everyone. There has to be something for everyone. That's why Baskin Robbins has 31 flavors, bud. There's a flavor for everyone. If it, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no,
Can't,
absolutely.
it can't be just one flavor.
Yeah.
There's going to be a competition for everyone. And I agree with you. There has to be, and don't get me wrong. I think some things get too far one way or too far the other way.
No, I don't disagree with that.
I hope that they don't all start getting too much to be like one or the other. Because I do like the strict ways that WFCT is. And I do like, because there are a lot of tinters in this world that like a certain way. And that's cool because then they like to be in a competition that's that way. And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
And you're going to have people that don't like that. That's just how it is.
Oh yeah.
That's just like even in racing. There's certain people, there's racing over here at South Point, man. You'll hear people that maybe complain about this racing that's going on over there, but the vast majority aren't complaining. To think that you're going to have 700 entries and have everybody happy is not happening, dude. You're not going to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
Forget it. You know, and people like Barry that's putting on an awesome show like he does, he needs to understand he's doing a great job. They're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no.
Their show is professional. It's clean. It's respected. I think a lot of the manufacturers, maybe they do, but I don't. They should let them know how much they appreciate the level of professionalism that's there, because some manufacturers look for that.
Well, that's the clientele they're trying to attract, because as soon as you start selling their film, you're not part of that company, but you are still representing that company. And if you
That's
do
a
something
fact.
out of bad faith, like, don't think that they won't separate from you instantly. And their name carries weight as much as there are the white box, the white label companies that we'll talk about. You don't need that brand film costs so much, and then you have to worry about your rep and this and that. It's like, it depends on how you deal with your manufacturer. You develop your relationship with them, but you find the right manufacturer that's going to take care of you. And I enjoy the fact of knowing that I have a brand that I don't have to think twice about. That when it comes to anything being warranted, and also when they get looked up, there is tons of content out there showing what this company does, what they've been about. I mean, SolarGuard, Lumar, Matago, like the history's there. It's not just like everyone asking, like, hey, is this film okay? Is this okay?
Well, all you have to do is go to these dealer meetings, and it speaks for itself. All you got to do is go to the dealer meetings, and you don't have to necessarily, you don't have to go to them. You just can look at some of the videos or look at some of the pictures and look at the quality of the attendees, and that will speak for itself, and it'll tell you what they expect of show. I promise.
Oh, without a doubt.
The brands of films will tell you what they're expecting the event to be like. Every type of brand of film doesn't have the same type of expectations. That's just a fact.
Yep.
That's no different than a pizza joint,
Oh,
a burger joint,
every
a steakhouse, or whatever. You're not going to have the same clientele.
car
Look, dude,
manufacturers.
it's no different than my tent shop. My first tent shop was not in the same type of town that I'm in right now. That doesn't mean that the people that I was tinting for originally are bad people. They were not.
Yeah.
They're just a different clientele.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a different price point. It's a totally different film.
Yep.
Okay. I was selling a great brand of film at that other tent shop. Film didn't fail. I never had a failure. Never. Totally different brand of film.
Yep.
The brand of film I sell now sells for a lot more money. The clientele is a different brand of car. They still have 4 tires.
Yeah.
They still put fuel in it. Look, dude, they eat at different restaurants.
Yeah.
They have a different palate.
Oh, without a doubt.
They have a different way of looking at it. When they go to Valvoline and get their oil change, they're not just getting the oil change. They're like, let's have the filter changed. Go ahead and do this, this, and this. Okay? It's a different clientele. So in the same way, these competitions, there's going to be different competitions. There's different strokes for different folks.
Yep.
We need that in our industry because the fact is, there are different kinds of installers across the board. It doesn't make somebody worse or better.
No, they're in a different stage in their
It's
career.
just different. It's just different people, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like all types of people. People aren't better or worse. They're just different. Some people like rap. Some people like country. Some people like this. Some people like that. Doesn't make you better or worse.
Yeah.
Just because somebody wants to scream and act crazy hey man, just because it ain't your cup of tea doesn't make you a bad person.
Yeah.
It may not be something I like. Who am I to judge? Maybe it isn't something I want to be around. Maybe it is. Maybe it's something I'll go be around. Maybe it isn't. Don't be mad at me because I don't.
Yeah.
Don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But these film companies should all support what works for their clientele. Like I know film companies that sell to certain clientele, and I know. I mean, it's just a fact. There's certain films that only sell to certain clientele, and it won't work in others.
No.
And that competition, there's certain competitions that should cater to that.
Oh, I could not agree more. I mean, I like all the ones that are popping up. It's giving people at least an outlet to go test the grounds of competition. Because I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that it's like, are you going to go compete at DevStream? Like, nah, man, I'm not going to waste my time with that. And like they just, if anything, they don't want to step into the arena because they just don't. If you're not getting sponsored, it's expensive. The entry fee is, I'm not saying it's overly expensive, but you got entry fee, and you got to go fly there. You got to take the time off. To
At which one?
WSCT.
Oh yeah.
It can be costly. You know, we've been blessed in the fact that we have been able to leverage our brand and then leverage our experience to have our manufacturer cover it. Tint same thing. Like he supports us with like, I think he calls me every year and says, what do you need? I'm like, dude, I'm good. I like Solar Guard's got it. Like, I appreciate it. And I mean, everything else that Eric's done for us, but like trying to go there solo by yourself, like I've been lucky enough that I haven't had to do that. Even the very first time I went in 2012, Solar Guard at the time, I just kind of found out about them. And it was WFCT was in Louisville. I was too late to get Solar Guard to sponsor me. And then, so I had American Standard Window Film sponsor me. They weren't there because they didn't buy a booth, but I had a shirt on with my logo and across the back was like 12-inch wide American Standard Window Films logo.
Really?
On the back and on the front. Yeah.
I don't remember that year.
That was the first year that I competed, and I was wearing. I could use Solar Guard's film because they were part of the competition, but American Standard couldn't sell on the floor because they didn't sponsor. They were still a new company. So, but Henry Henry was with American Standard at the time
because it's manufactured out here. So we were like one of the first people they flocked to.
Yeah. So
I remember that year, but I just don't remember you doing that.
I had black Dickies shirt. My competition shirt had a gigantic American Standard Window Films logo on the back of it. Solar Guard didn't give a shit because I was still using their film. So if I would have done anything in the competition, it still would have been with Solar Guard's product. But on the front of my shirt, it had American Standard. On the back of my shirt, it had American Standard. Big as shit. Yeah, I mean, they paid for it. They pretty much gave us a film credit just to go compete. Henry's like, I'll pay for it. I said, all right, I'm there. I went and competed. And then after that, I think Solar Guard carried me every single year until it became a 3M Pro shop for 2 years. And then 3M footed the bill for 2 years. And that's when it kind of got to the next level where 3M paid for like everything. They were like, yeah, just send us receipts. So we just started sending receipts and the credits for all of them. I was like, okay. And like, so it was, but you got to be in the position to actually leverage, either got to be buying enough film from them. If you're buying a good amount of film from them, do not be afraid to go to your manufacturer and say, hey, I want to go compete and pressure them.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think the people I've heard the most talk about not wanting to go that I think are missing the point is people are like, whatever, I don't care. I'm not trying to compete. Like, who cares who's the best type of attitude. When like the competition's only like a fraction of the value you're getting from being.
Oh, that's just the entertaining part of it. That's not
seeing
the real value.
how other people
That's not real
install,
value.
getting to have conversations with you or anybody else on the floor. There's just so much knowledge in the industry there. If you go there thinking it's all about the competition, you're missing out on like the biggest value of the entire thing. Like if you're dealing with an issue or something, there's gonna be somebody there that'll probably have a really clever solution to it.
Even beyond issue, what you'll learn installing wise, stop thinking you know everything because you don't. I mean,
Right.
every time I go compete, it's the same thing. Like I learn something new every time I go to compete, even flat glass, PPF, everything. I mean, in 21, you showed me, or you brought to light hot water for PPF. Oh, I had never done it before. I was at your booth. I was about to compete. I was about 2 hours away from competing in the first heat of PPF. And like and I was in the first, I think that was the year I was in the first heat of flat glass, and I loved the way my window turned out too. So I was like, oh, I think I'll make the finals for that. And I did my PPF, and I was talking with you. We had to do a full fender, and we had to wrap the edges. At the time, I wasn't really wrapping edges. I was just cutting right to the edge. And I started talking to you, and then you're like, do you use hot water? I'm like, what do you mean? And then we had like a good 15, 20 minute conversation. You're saying, well, beyond the fact of clearing the soap out the edge, which for some reason it never dawned on me. I'm just over the top of my goddamn head. I'm like, oh, that's why my edge, I never rolled because I never could get it to roll and actually catch. I'm leaving soap on the goddamn glue. Duh. And then you're like, yeah, hot water. It's like using a steamer, but not using a steamer. I was like, holy shit, that's genius. I ran back up to my room, turned on the faucet to get as hot as I possibly could, filled up a bottle, wrapped that bottle in microfibers, taped it, and went and competed. Made the finals in PPF. And to me, that's my weakest thing I could do is PPF. Like if out of all the skills from flat, auto, tint to PPF, that was definitely the weakest. That fender came out amazing. And like rolling my edges and get like, as I was doing it and it started working, I was like, holy shit, this is, it made me actually, I think, start enjoying doing PPF because I only did it to begin with.
Hot water was a turning point for me with PPF.
Oh,
a hot water, on-demand hot water tank in my shop is like having another employee, and it changed me with PPF because I hated it before.
Oh,
so this is what I'm talking about, the value of that show. Like now, like that's a staple of installing PPF here. Like, and that was like a quick little conversation with you at an event.
Yeah,
I to compete, but learn something that how valuable. It was like you were saying, how valuable is
There's
squeegee?
people that you can learn from. I learned from people at those shows too. And sometimes it's the person that may not look like somebody you can learn from. They may be somebody that you might judge by their appearance.
Yeah.
Or they may not dress like you might want to dress, or they might, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't judge somebody by their looks. There's some very intelligent people. There's people that, that I have learned some of the craziest, awesome things. There's a gentleman from Australia that I have to this day. There is nobody who cuts the top edge like him. There's nobody who cuts the top edge like him. I've never seen nothing like it.
Auto?
Oh yeah, dude. It's incredible. He's an unreal. Like he was at XPEL and he's a showstopper. When he does it, he could take the back of a alpha blade. He didn't need the sharp edge. He could flip the blade upside down.
How he shaves it?
Dude, it's insane.
I know who you're talking about.
It's insane. It's all in the pressure and the angle of what he does it. It's incredible. And I'm just telling you, dude, when you see it, it'll just make you'll just be like, what the fuck, man? How is he doing that? And I've done it, and I've done it like a handful of times, but to do it every single time like he did, it's like, it's not happening.
I would like to know what that time period for him though was for when that stopped happening, because that was definitely obviously happening as he was doing the technique and then finally getting it to the point. Like, I mean, how I cut
that's
an
bottom
edge
loading.
Oh yeah,
I struggled with bottom loading forever, and then one day it finally just clicked, and it's like that's pretty much the only way I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, and like I still teach my guys that come in like you're gonna learn two stage to begin with, because two stage you'll always get two stage in. Like you have to really try to fuck up two stage. You should be able to two stage almost any window.
Yeah,
and like that is one skill you should have to just learn just so you can do it. Because you will have a day where you're bottom loading and like for me, like I don't pull my sweeps and I don't want to take cars apart, so I bottom load with it in. There are days when you're doing that where just shit just goes wrong and you're just like, it's not happening. But you can always fall back on two staging. Take you a little bit longer, sure, whatever. Still get the job done. But bottom loading for me took me like 6 months for it to finally click, and then it clicked. And then I found the right tools. I was using a plastic paddle. It was about 3-inch wide plastic paddle that I was getting at Home Depot and Lowe's until they stopped making it, or they changed their basic brand and they changed everything about it, which I hated because I had it down to a science. I had to go get it 3 inches wide. I'd heat it. I'd throw a little bend in it, and it had just the slightest bend, and it was like paper thin but still strong. And then I couldn't find them anymore. I was like, shit, that's what I always used. So then I started trying to use I think there was different angle cards. Then I started using an Easy Reach. And then I was able to pick it up with the Easy Reach, and that's all I use now is the Easy Reach. And like when I went to compete in 2012, I was the only person at the time that, at least out here, that I knew bottom loaded without pulling shit apart. Like, cause everyone's like, oh, you got to take the door apart. I'm like, no, you don't. Why would I waste my time doing that? Like, yes, it'll come out clean if you do it that way, but how much more time am I going to take?
There's
taking
just
a car
certain
apart?
things that people do that work for certain people, and you can't judge somebody. Like,
No,
like for
absolutely
example, we had a Honda Accord in the shop. Okay, it's a friend of ours, sort of. They're friends of ours, but it don't matter. It's their daughter's 2008 Honda Accord.
Oh, I hate that car.
Okay, and it's their daughter's car. It was really a pretty nice little Honda Accord, but it's older.
Oh,
And it's her daughter's. She's going to college. And without even a thought of it, this is just my go-to on this. I don't even, without even a flash of thought, you take the 10 millimeter and the Phillips screw out of the quarter window and you pull the fucker out, dude. That's just how I do that quarter window. And I promise you, I can tint that quarter window. And this is not a dare. And if you want to do it, we can go find one. But I promise you I can tint them quarter windows as fast as you can. And we can do this competition. You want to go find one? Let's fucking do it. I can tint them windows better than you can without taking them out, and as fast.
I gotta look this window.
They're this fast. You take the Phillips screw out and a 10 millimeter, and it happens this fast.
The quarter just comes
The
out.
rear quarter, it just comes out so fast. Dude.
Really?
It happens so fast. What's cool about it is this installer, I think his name's Sean Gee. In a competition this year,
Sean G. Yeah.
He did in the competition.
I saw that.
I was like, awesome, dude. I'm glad that he didn't get ridiculed for doing it, because I do this in my shop because I'm OCD. My jobs in my shop, I feel, are really on another level.
Yeah.
Because like a Ford Fusion, it bothers me when I see it where people don't tint the whole window, where it went back in the rubber. I tint the whole window.
That's where you'll beat me, but you're talking about that quarter window, right?
Yeah. But see, the rubber on that car on 2008, the rubber does this crazy thing where it gets sticky and shitty. And trying to throw that window in there, people will do things where they'll stick cards in there and try to slow it up.
Necessary.
But it's not hard to get in there. But you can't do a perfect job on a dirty ass 2008 window.
Yeah.
But I can have that window out. How fast, Tyler? Tyler, how fast can you have that quarter window out of that Honda Accord with that Phillips net 10 millimeter? 3 minutes.
All right.
That fast. And then you got the window in your hand and you put the film on it this quick.
Yeah.
You take glass cleaner, spray it on it, put the rubber back on it, and you just throw it back in there and you put the screw in it. And it's done. You walk away from it. And it happens so fast. There is no room for error. And and there's no touching up. There's not even one flaw.
So I would say in a state that 2008's in right now, yes. I would love to just do it just to be a fun competition. But if it was a brand new 2008 off the line, the
rubbers are so soft on a brand new one, you can throw the tint in.
Yeah. So
a brand new one, the rubbers are so soft and limber.
Yeah.
You can
an older vehicle, I would 100% agree. If you can take it apart easily, do it.
No, a brand new one, the rubbers are so soft.
No, I mean an old one. Sorry.
A brand new one, rubbers are so soft. I would take one of my side piece corner cards, and you could throw it in. Ray Charles can throw it in. One of my competitions, Rodney McClure did this funny thing, and he does some funny, cool things, and he did it where he tinted a car blindfolded, It's kind of funny. You could do that.
Oh, I bet my...
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he's supposed to do a window blindfold.
You could do that.
He's supposed
but
to
these new rubbers are so limber, they're like wet noodles, dude.
Yeah.
But when you get a 2008 Honda Accord, that rubber is hard, but it's something else. When you're an old guy like me, you know these things that a young guy doesn't know. The rubbers get hard and they do this sticky thing.
Yeah.
They get sticky. I'm not even fucking with it. I'm not even going there. And all you do is you just take that Phillips screw out in the 10 millimeter, you grab it, and you got the window in your hand, and every minute you put it on, you stick it back in there, you get it, and you're back to the window, and it's bam, and it's done. And the car is gone.
Yeah.
And there's no stress, and there's nothing. And it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because, and it really cracks me up. Then when I talk to a friend of mine, like, Elliot, he's like, you tint windows? And it cracks me up. It's like, yeah, whatever, And of course I tint windows. And of course I know how to do this stuff. But I don't go in these competitions. The truth is, I don't have a problem with the competitions. I don't want to miss the show. There's things at the shows I want to do. Like at WFCT, I don't even think you can be on the floor when you're not competing, correct?
Just year round. It's when year round's being judged. Otherwise, you're good.
Just when year round's being judged.
So
they changed it this last year.
So that's one thing I never really liked about the WFCT. I think it's really unfortunate that people have to miss so much of their time.
They fixed it this last year.
It's gotten better.
Not last year, but the year before when I was there. It was the first time they made it to where you couldn't be on the floor at all.
That's a bummer.
Now it's just when your rounds being judged.
It's always been when your rounds being judged. It's been like that for a long time.
Oh, maybe it was the judges that could.
The judges got banged over in that. The judges,
Yeah,
the judges,
it was the judges that
judges have to
changed.
go sit in a room all day.
They got-
Yeah,
Yeah,
like one time they asked me, I think, to be a
yeah.
judge. I'm like, hell no, I don't want to be a judge.
Yeah, no.
Like, who wants to go sit around and do nothing?
Yeah, so
And I feel bad for people like Jody Knight that's going to be a judge and his life's going to suck. He's going to go be in a room, or whatever. I don't know. Just that kind
yeah.
of sucks.
Chris changed that. Chris
Yeah, they
Chris
don't have
Brooks
to be in
kind
the
of
room anymore.
he's pretty much taken over judging. I mean, and actually pulling in the new judges and stuff. And that was like the one thing that he told him, like, if I'm going to judge, like, I'm not sitting in a room. I think he did that the first year, and then going into the second, he's like, yeah, it's not happening. Like,
Yeah.
I'll stay away from where the people are competing. And I mean, to be honest, if any one person wanted to really find out who was on what, but at the same time, are you going to really question someone who's taking 4 to 5 days out of their time just to judge? Like, there's no gain for a judge. They don't capitalize over anything. Like, that's a stupid. Especially, I love the fact that he's recruiting all past champions, because I don't care what anyone says. Any of the past champions or the past podium winners, they aren't going to compromise to put a crown on somebody. Like, they're not going to let someone win just to win. No, they want to see the best product out there. They want to see the best install. So
Yeah.
I love the way that they're going with that with the judging. The one downfall, as soon as you become a judge, though, you can never compete again. That's one of the rules. And that's a rule until they lift that rule. There's a chance I might wait a while to judge then. Because, I mean, like, it's like Eric from Tint, he keeps, like, I've told him, like, I think I'm going to go to judge. He's like, why? Because start judging when you start losing. Then start judging. When one of your guys beats you, then start judging. Because why would you stop now? Which, I mean, like, he's already giving me shit. Like, I wasn't gonna compete this year. I was gonna do judging.
Yeah, I thought you hung it up.
No,
No,
he's not
he won't
allowed
let
to.
me.
He ducked me last
But you guys
year.
are going at it this year. You guys are going to be like,
We're gonna bring the whole shop this year.
Which previous podcast, this will already be known. I'm not doing auto this year.
you're not.
Me, Marcus, Josh, and his son are gonna do decorative together. So
Decorative's a pretty cool deal.
yeah. So because Marcus was here, he was doing some work with us. Me and him started chatting, and I was like, "What do you think about us teaming up? Let's go take decorative down." So it'll hopefully give Marcus the 3 time.
I mean, he's awesome, man.
Oh, he's
Such a good
working, having him come in and doing some work and getting to work hand in hand with him and have more conversation with him.
Last year he was with
Darren.
Darren.
Yeah.
Funny story about Darren. Let me tell you something about tools with Darren. So Darren's a good friend of mine. He's he's a good friend of mine. He's a guy that one time he called me and he's like, I love this hybrid. He goes, I did this job for M&M's for Mars. He goes, I wish they last longer. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, man, I did this whole job. It took a whole blade to do this job.
How many square feet was that job?
And I go, really? He goes, yeah. And he told me how much money he made. I go, so you used a whole blade and you made that much money? And he goes, hey, man, I'm hanging up right now. Forget that I called you. I feel really stupid right now. And he hung up and he called me back and he's like, I'm just another one of those tinters. He's like, I can't believe I was that guy. And because he was just another guy wanting a $1 hard card to last for 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying, like,
I mean, he made real money, like real money putting on film, and he wanted a blade to last longer. It's like we all wanted. You're looking at a guy, dude, that for real, I tint almost daily. I'm within usually 50 feet of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of blades. Most of the time, my blades wore out. The shoemaker's son is always running around barefooted. You know how often, Tyler, do I have a wore out blade? Right?
Yeah.
And I'll put a new blade on. I'm like,
you get
holy
used
shit,
to it.
this is nice.
as it's going, you know how you know where the nick is, so you know how low you want to go. Like,
Right. It's not because of any reason other than it's just like, you're a creature of habit, and you do this thing. And then I put a new orange crush in, and I'm like, holy shit, this thing's nice. And then I go, Nick, you're just like the rest of these guys. You're like Darren. You're just another one of them,
I've got a brass like Unger, like just clean the window squeegee right now that I probably should have switched the blade out. Like,
you're no better than anybody else. You're a hypocrite, or whatever. You're just like one of them. Because I do the same thing. One of our good customers one time said something like, he's like, you need to create something like the Shave Club or whatever, where like you get tools sent to you monthly to where it forces you just to throw them out, or it forces you to do it.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Actually, that would be a great idea.
That would not be a bad idea.
To where these things just start stacking up, so you throw the shit away. Because you can shave it to make it new or whatever, but there's nothing like a new piece of TPU. A TPU wears out, it dries out.
Yep.
And let's be real, man. If you're doing a tint job and you're at a shop, you're making $300 or you're making $700 or you're making $1,100, whatever your price plan is, a $13 blade is so minimal, dude. It's so minimal. It's so not important. Let's be real, man.
Oh, no. You asked how much one blade can make. Say you lay 5,000 square feet. 5,000 square feet, say the average medium, say you're charging $12 a square foot, which, it would go even higher from what we're charging, but that's $60,000.
Could you do with a 5,000 square foot, just being real, Ricky, could you do, I know what I can do.
That's what I was trying to think of what happened. Because Marcus was on 500 feet today. So that house 10 times, yeah.
I know I can.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I know I can.
Without a doubt.
There's no doubt.
As long as you're taking care of your tools properly and treating them like, if you're buying the nice handle, nice blade, you should be taking care of it like it's a fucking snap-on tool.
We don't go through them that much.
I'm just saying.
Dude, I'm
just saying, like, at minimally, though, like, you lay 5,000 feet, like, it pays for itself and then some. Like, you should just be buying it. Like, all right, if I'm installing this much every month, shit, I'm going to buy one for every single goddamn month, because if you have the new blade, you're way faster, you're way more efficient. The work comes out better.
That's where I'm getting at. It's not because I own Fusion Tools that I tell these guys this, and they think that I'm just trying to make more money or whatever. I'm trying to help them out, and they think that I'm just trying to sell more tools. And yes, I want to sell tools, but I'm trying to tell them, you are being more efficient, you're being faster, you're doing things better. The job is better, and tools do pick up. Look, I have a very good friend, dude, and this guy is in the industry, and I'm not going to use names because I'm not a name user, but he works for a film company. This guy is real, dude. This guy is like a brother of mine. He called me and he says, man, look, we got a problem, dude. He goes, one of my biggest customers is scratching a security film with your blades. I think you got a problem, man. Your blades are fucked up. And it's what he said. I'm like, no way. This isn't happening.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I promise you it's not my blades. Something's up. He's like, look, man, where this film is being installed is it's in a clean room, meaning that this is in a glass room within this facility that is a clean room. I'm like, are you sure? He says, I'm sure. He goes, this is a real place where they make real glass for the Pentagon and for the presidential limos and all this shit. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm thinking, I'm sold. I got a problem. I go, when are you going to be there again? He goes, tomorrow. I go, listen, and this is how real of a dude I am. And my wife will tell you this, and I'll tell you once this recording's off, because I don't want to put this guy under a bus, because he's a very important person to me. And he probably wouldn't care if I said his name, because he's a great dude. He goes, I'm going to be there tomorrow. I said, well, listen, man, I'm jumping on a plane tomorrow. I'll see you there tomorrow. Give me the address. And I bought a very expensive plane ticket to be there in Texas. And I don't live in Texas. I jumped on a plane to be there in Texas the next day, because I had to figure out what's going on, because I don't want him to lose this contract selling this film. I really believed I had a problem. And I get to this place and I'm thinking my tools are fucked up, man. And I get in this place and we're in a clean room, dude. Like, I'm talking a clean room, a glass room. And this glass is 4 inches thick, ballistic glass. One of the baddest ass guys I've ever met in my life owns this place. And they sell ballistic glass and they sell bullet resistant steel there. And they're putting on security film to keep glass from flying if in the event something happens and the glass does break. And they are scratching the window film. It is not wrong. And I'm looking at them installing this clean room. And luckily for me, I come prepared. So I have this camera. Bring me that camera, Tyler. I bring this camera and I have a loop like a jeweler has. I bring a jeweler's loop, and I think every window tinter should buy one of these cameras. You can buy this camera on the trusty old Amazon. This thing costs you about $80. You can buy it for $40, but I think this one costs about $70. And I think everyone should buy one of these. This camera is awesome. So I looked at my tool under this high magnification. This thing goes, I think, around 400 times. And I looked at my blade, and this blade had sparkles in it. It had glass in it. It had glass in my blade. And I'm like, wow, man, this is real. This has glass in the blade. So I looked around this clean room and I touched the table and there was glass in the room. So I started looking around the vents and the return vents. The same return vents were pulling glass out of this facility where they cut the glass. They were pumping in return vents from the other parts of the facility, and this probably billionaire, because this place was on the airport in Dallas. This facility was on the airport, so this guy could fly out of this hangar. There was glass so fine you can't see it with your eye, but when you take this camera and you look at it, you could see it. And when these guys would squeegee these glasses, they were scratching it. And I saved this company, this manufacturer, this film manufacturer, that day because of this camera and this loop. Because the squeegee was picking up micro pieces of glass that you cannot see, you cannot feel.
That's crazy.
And it happens. And it had this friend of mine, and this friend of mine is no joke. He's not your average rep. He didn't know. And he genuinely, truly thought my squeegees were fucked up. And he wouldn't call me to tell me, Nick, your shit's fucked up. But he did. I occasionally remind him about it. And but my squeegees weren't fucked up. And I love it because that's what I do. I do that best. That's what I'm at best at is fixing problems. And we fixed that company's problem, and that was an experience that I'll never forget because those things happen, Ricky, and without experience, your average person, we don't know what would have happened. Maybe they'd have brought Lumar in there. Maybe they'd have brought SolarGuard. Maybe they'd have brought whatever brand you want to talk about. That problem still would have existed. These are tools that I'm going to show you something before I leave here. I'm going to
grab one of my goddamn squeegees over in the auto bay.
I'm going to show you on the back glass of a car with this is going to blow your mind.
Well, it makes sense now. I'm
going to show you on a defroster of a back glass that nobody else does this but me. Because we got a new tool that I'm going to show you that I can fix back glasses, make putting back glasses on way easier. I'm going to show you the defrosters of the back glass with this tool. And every window tinter should have this. And they will after they watch your little podcast here. And you should tell people about this, and I'll try to tell people about this.
We'll make a video about it.
Dude, I promise you that any Chrysler product, even a Jeep Wrangler or a Charger or Challenger that you fight putting a back glass on, all these stories of what people think the issue is, and I'm not telling these people out there in the world that I'm not telling you that you're wrong, but you're wrong.
I'm so excited to see this.
I'm going to tell you what the problem is. So a defroster is a metal element. And what causes those elbow noodles to happen isn't bad film. They think it's caused because people overshrink it or undershrink it, and that can
make it worse.
Cause that worse. But here's what happens. That element has oxidation. And when I show you a defroster line under this camera, you're gonna shit. And I know you guys have kick my ass on your competitions and all this stuff. But when I show you a defroster line on this, when I leave here tonight, you'll have a better respect for me. Because I'm going to change your guys' window
That's going to
tinting.
be hard, though.
That's
bro.
gonna be hard though.
I promise you. I'm going to promise you, because I'm going to change the way tinting happens around here. Because in your class, you're going to, this new tool that we have, this Pro Prep,
I ain't doing no auto training classes.
well, whatever. When you train your tinters around here, I promise
That will
you,
help.
every single car, I want you to do this. Every car in here, just do this one step. And I promise you, and I know some of these guys that are badass window tinters out there are going to have a hard time changing their way of doing it. They're just going to have to put their ego aside and believe Nick on this one. It's going to change every fucking back window they've ever done. There are some back windows that don't have this problem. And I can't tell you every single one, but I am a glass guy. I install glass. Pilkington is a very good glass company, but St. Gobain and some of these manufacturers have an issue with their glass. And they don't put a coating on the defroster line, and this defroster will oxidize. So I can clean this defroster with clay tiles, or you can do this with a double-aught steel wool,
Yep.
and we can clean it and come back to it in a week. And you know what's amazing? We can put that camera back on it, and it grows back. You know what it looks like? Looks like your fucking upper lip, your mustache. I'm not lying. When I take this camera out there, it's going to look like your mustache. You know why the film doesn't stick to it? Because it can't. Because all this hair and this growth of this oxidation is not allowing the film to lay flat to it. When we use this new tool that I've come up with, it'll make that defroster line. It doesn't hurt the defroster line. It allows that defroster line to be flat. So when you put this film on a Challenger or Charger, or
Yeah, all
Price
the
Pro,
pain in the ass.
it's flat. It allows the film to stick, and it sticks perfectly. And then when you don't do things that pisses the film off, like putting petroleum behind the film, like baby shampoo, would love it if you use all type. But if you use your Joy, or you use 31-in-1, or if you want to use some other brand of awesome mounting solution that's made from window film, it'll stick and you won't have no problems. And you will enjoy window film, because ultimately that's what I want you all to do, is I want you to enjoy window film, because window film's made me a good living. And I don't want people to hate window filming, because I hated it a lot. I fucking hated it, dude. If I told you how many boxes of window film I turned into a fucking spear and I threw it across the shop and I swore I was never going to do it again, I couldn't tell you how many, because I hated it, because it was so hard, because I didn't have people out there to train me. I had Bud Wood. Bud Wood would teach me, but he didn't know everything that I've learned along the way.
It takes a
And
while.
it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the chemicals that I got lucky enough to learn how to build, and the tools that I've learned to build.
Yep.
This tool right here is priceless, and you got to get one, because your eyes can't see what this thing can see. And this will change the way you do a back window. And that damn Camaro in there, if you'd have had this before you did that, that Camaro would have been, I'm not going to tell you it would have been half as easy, but I guarantee you it would have taken,
Less time.
it would have taken the edge off of that job to a level that is just unbelievable. I mean, I know, because I've done identical cars with and without, just to see, to make sure I wasn't bullshitting myself, because the easiest person to bullshit is yourself.
Yeah.
And it's a fact. It is easier. But anyway,
I can't wait
This
to
has
that
been
try.
fun.
No, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no,
you're gonna freak out when I show you
yeah,
this.
I'm
You're-
excited to go play with that.
You're gonna freak out when you see this. This thing, my buddy Jeff, I showed him this for some other total thing. He didn't leave my shop before he was on Amazon, and the bastard bought a better one than this.
Well, again, same reason why I go into these competitions and dealer meetings or anything of that sort is for this exact reason by itself. This is how I found out about hot water. Same thing, conversation. If we didn't have that conversation that day, I know for certainty I wouldn't have made it into the finals, because I would have struggled heavily with getting my edge to wrap and hold. Like, I can already, with you pulling that out and talking about the defroster, without even seeing it right now, I can tell you, I already know it's already got me sold. In the
At
fact
some
that,
point in my life, I hope that I could retire if I sell this company, and I can retire and I can just help people out. That's my goal in life, is to help people. That's truly, I'm a pleaser. I joke around. I say this stupid thing. If I was a woman, I'd be fucking pregnant all the time. I'm a fucking pleaser, dude.
You know,
I'm always helping people out. I'm always helping people out. My wife has to be the fucking shield in the shop. She keeps me out of the office because I'm always taking on jobs. People will come in like, I got 2 front doors. Like, yeah, bring it in. I've got this. Bring it in. She's like, get out of here. She's always trying to help me out, dude. She's always trying to help me out. She's awesome, man. She's always trying to help me out because I'm a fucking pleaser.
Yeah.
And I love helping people out, even in our industry, because truly, and I don't want to offend these fucking reps that we have today, because I like people like Nick Casucci, but we don't have the reps that we need in our industry. And I don't mean that in a bad way, guys out there, but we have a lot of good looking reps, but we don't have a lot of knowledgeable installing reps that we used to have back in the 90s and the 2000s. People that pull their sleeves up and just jump in there, to train us, to come out there and go, what the hell are you doing with that joy? Why are you putting joy under that PPF? Because that's not what you want to put under PPF. You don't put joy on.
I do.
You know what I'm saying? We just need huh?
I said I do, unfortunately.
You use joy for putting PPF on? That's like the dumbest thing you've ever told me.
Please make that a clip, Jordan.
That joy made it to the finals, son.
No, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
I know what you mean.
Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Wait.
I know what you're saying.
No, wait a minute.
I
I
know
just
what
fucked
you're
up.
saying.
Wait a minute. I fucked up. I said joy. I'm sorry. I back up.
Baby shampoo.
I fucked up. I meant Dawn.
Okay.
Joy.
I agree with
I gotta
that
back up. I gotta back up. I gotta take it back. Joy is not that bad. Joy is not that bad.
But there are much better products out there for PPF.
Dawn. I go to these competitions and great companies that are out there, and they got these competitions where they're paying these installers great money to win, and they'll give these different brands of mounting solutions out there. And I don't want them just to have mine. I'm not a fucking narcissist, dude. I don't want just mine. I'm not that guy, dude. I promise you I'm not. I don't want them just to have my fucking tools. Yeah, some people will say that because they think that that's not the case, dude.
Yeah.
But it pisses me off when they have Dawn out there. Let me tell you.
There's plenty of old school guys that use it. They're like, I swear by it. I'm like,
Dawn is like the worst thing you could ever put under PPF. I want everyone to try this at home. You PPF installers out there. This will show you how good, really how fucked up Dawn is. I love Dawn. You can go to my shower at the fucking MGM right now. There's Dawn in the shower. I shower with Dawn. Is that weird? I don't care. I don't give 2 fucks. I wash every car in our shop before we install with PPF with Dawn. Dawn's a very good degreaser. Dawn got better after the oil spill. It cleans ducts great. It degreases fucking engine compartments very good. Let me tell you what Nick knows about Dawn. This little camera here will show you some awesome shit about Dawn. Look at the adhesive at a very high magnification after you put Dawn on it. Here's what I want everyone to do. Nick figured this out. This is not something that somebody taught Nick. I talked to a nice man at the show today here in Las Vegas. And unfortunately, this gentleman told me that he has a hard time wrapping edges around a hood. He told me he hates PPFing. This poor man, he's from Vegas. He uses baby shampoo and Dawn. He has a hard time getting film to wrap around the edges. And I explained to him why he has a hard time. He didn't understand it. He isn't well informed on why. And so here's this lesson I want you all to do. So if you have a film that is a very good film, and we'll just use XPEL, because I'm very knowledgeable on XPEL, use Ultimate Plus. Ultimate Plus is a very good film. And if you use Ultimate Plus the way it's intended to be used, and you use it with their gel or you use it with my all type, and you haven't hindered that adhesive in any way, it's going to adhere to the body panel the way it's supposed to. If you get so unfortunate to get a piece of microfiber under it, like all of us do, it happens. And you get that piece of microfiber right there where that speck is, you've got to go back and get it, right? Don't you get it sometimes?
oh, absolutely.
Okay. So If you're using something like All-Type or Joy, because Joy is not a bad one either, that adhesive is going to hold that piece of microfiber very good because the thickness of PPF adhesive is very thick. And what it does is it does this. Differently than automotive window tint or flat glass window tint, PPF adhesive does this. It grabs and it conforms to the debris. And you can lift that piece of film and you could take your dental tool or whatever it is that you like to reach in there and try to retrieve that piece of debris. And you could pick and pick and pick and pick and pick. And a lot of times you don't want to let go because it's buried.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is what Nick wants you to do to show you how shitty Dawn is for your PPF install. Mix a bottle of Dawn as if you're going to use it for installing window film or PPF. Put a squirt in a 24-ounce bottle of Zep or whatever, as if you're going to make mounting solution. And spray that Zep on your pointer finger. Just spray it, wet your pointer finger up. Lift that PPF up and go to that spot where that speck is and just massage it with your finger. Don't spray under it. Just massage it where that piece of debris is. And here's what's going to happen. The surfactants and the emulsifiers and the degreaser that's in that Dawn is going to do what it's meant to do. When you put Dawn in the sink and it goes after the grease and the dried cheese that's on your dishes, and it needs to get below that cheese because it's got these built-in chemicals that goes after these particles, you see, micro lubricants. It's got these emulsifiers and surfactants that goes after it. It goes in this adhesive and it swells it. It literally swells it up. It pisses the adhesive off. You know, when I made All-Type, I wasn't playing games. I did this for real. We made a real chemical. When you massage that piece of particle, it's going to piss that adhesive off just a little bit. It literally is going to let go. It lets go like magic. You don't have to pick it. It's going to let go of that damn particle like magic. Just rub it with your finger. It's going to go. It's going to let go. Just use your finger and let go. It's going to blow your mind. What I'm telling you is, and that's the same reason why if you were to install that whole hood with that damn Dawn, it's like you're on ball bearings. And it's why that gentleman I talked to today, that I did not know, but I only stopped to talk to him because he was wrapping a car and he had the cutest little son I've seen, rapping with him. This little kid was badass. He was putting on vinyl with his dad. He was like 7 years old, man. And I got talking to him and one thing led to another. And he was telling me he has a hard time wrapping vinyl. Well, if you use Dawn and you get the whole PPF pissed off with your Dawn, and these film manufacturers are letting you put Dawn, and these reps are letting you put Dawn, many things are happening. Think about I'm just going to say how ignorant this is, okay? Film manufacturers don't want warranties, do they? Because it costs them money.
No.
It should be to their benefit. Come on, man. Chris Hardy should listen right now. If they don't want warranties, it should be to Chris Hardy's benefit to go, we shouldn't be educating people to be using Dawn because if that's affecting our film in a way that can be causing issues, it could cause us warranties or cause issues. But, because it really does affect the film. It really does.
Yeah.
It doesn't allow it to wrap around the edge. If you let that film hang, you ever heard people say that they'll let the extra hang overnight and you wash it out, you douche it out with water, and you come back in tomorrow, it'll stick? That's because overnight, what happens is that adhesive gets to suck back and go back home, kind of like octopus fingers, like the suctions, they suck back, it gets happy again, come back in tomorrow, it'll stick. Because it's not swollen anymore. If you don't introduce that product into the environment of that glue, you don't have that problem.
Yeah.
By using things like All-Type or other mounting solutions that are made for our products, you don't have those problems. But if you have that spec and you put that Dawn on there, it'll let it go. Why would you want to have that under the whole surface of it? It gets gummy under it.
Mm-hmm.
Use the products that are made for it. Manufacturers make, like Lumar makes their mounting solutions. Manufacturers make mounting solutions. Everybody wants to be a chemist or somebody wants to make something. Make sure it's the right thing for it. Make sure it's approved for it. Make sure that it isn't upsetting what you're installing. It's really simple. And the cool thing about all-type is, like this gentleman said to me, he goes, well, what if I needed to slide more? The cool thing about all-type is you can just add more of it.
Yeah.
You can add more of it. Where if you keep adding more of something that has petroleum or a lotion in it, like baby shampoo, you're going to start creating more of an issue of sticky. And then you're going to be waiting longer and longer and longer for this thing to want to stick to the edges. Where if you just add more all-type and then wash it out, because see, all-type doesn't have these other things, these emulsifiers and surfactants that keep sudsing. It washes away easy with intention. So it allows you to work quicker. So that's what you want. But that was all built into that product with intention. It takes a long time to get people to switch because we're creatures of habit.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, I can go on forever. Sorry.
No.
That's what I do.
I'm just glad we got that clip of you saying that's the
What's
dumbest thing. The clip we're gonna get of you telling him that's the dumbest thing you've ever said to me.
Well, I thought he was saying
no, Don. I stay away from Don. Don for Paul.
I thought he said Dawn, dude. I was like, fuck.
No. I said no. No, there's still. I know.
Dude,
I know
we could do this
guys.
for hours.
Yeah.
I love talking to you guys, dude. You guys are like, I wish you guys were closer. And I felt bad that all these times at SEMA, you guys asked me. I don't have time at
We
SEMA.
know how busy you are.
No, that's.
Dude, SEMA, if you knew how much it cost me per minute to be there,
Oh no, I have a good.
I've got a rough idea.
I have a rough idea in my head, and believe me, that's why there was.
I can't do it. I know I'm not turning you guys down because I'm being rude.
No. We never felt that at all.
that
We
was-
know what you're doing down there, dude.
No,
It has to work. And SEMA's been brutal to us the last 2 years because they're doing freaking construction on the Central Hall, and
Yeah.
we get there's no traffic going to the West Hall. Luckily, we've done okay the last few years, or last couple of years, by the blessing of our great following of the Fusion trailer being the candy truck for our wonderful following. And but the West Hall has been brutal because people can't hardly get there. It's so damn far away,
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta take the Tesla. That's the fastest way to get there. Because if you walk it, it's a walk.
It's a hell of a walk.
I did it once, and I was like, all right, I want to do this once, it's just to see. And now I'm like, I'm hopping in a Tesla now.
They were supposed to alternate us. When they first put us there in the West Hall, they said they were going to put us in the West Hall and have us at the North Hall and back and forth. They've never done that. And the West Hall is a beautiful hall, but
it's away from everything.
it's too far away.
Yeah, it's away.
It's too far away, man. And I don't know. I'm going to have to, we're going to the SEMA. We're going to be back here pretty soon for the SEMA Summit. Believe me, I'm going to do some talking to them. They have to start directing some traffic and get people to get there, because last year the Central Hall and South Hall and North Hall was busy as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, they've shuttled almost all the film manufacturers are over there too, but still it's so niche that you have to want to go over there, and they need to put something else
the
over
people
there.
who come to West Hall already know us.
Yeah.
You know who doesn't come to the West Hall? The new father and sons, the new people that don't know about window tint or vinyl. That's what we miss. The people are like that just bumped into you by accident.
Yeah.
Those people are still in the Central Hall and the North Hall and the South Hall. It was busy as hell last year in those halls. They just never made it over to West Hall.
It keeps getting bigger and bigger. There's just so much there.
They just put that hall too far away, man. They got to figure out some way of. The Teslas are cool. They got to figure out some other way of getting masses.
Yeah, I wonder how much the Teslas actually take away from foot traffic, because I used to walk through that whole convention.
Yeah, but you have to know
year.
what's over there and want to go over there. Like they got to put something over there. I don't say
It attracts
flashy.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess technically you have to say flashy.
Yeah,
That's
like the
good.
drifting thing draws people there. When
Yeah.
Ford and General Motors pulled out of SEMA and they had all that drifting out front, if you have something really awesome, it'll, like you're saying, flashy, it draws people over there. Yeah. You got to have something that draws people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got
Because
to
they're
have
over
some,
there and they're going, I'm going to go check this shit out. And they walk in.
yeah,
And they go
you know,
check
whatever
it
it
out.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some sort of a draw.
So when you come out for Summit, when is that?
sad to say I don't know exactly what the date is. I could, but we could do this again.
I was gonna say, we definitely got to continue.
Let's do it again. I told Jordan, friends of mine like Mike Burke does a lot of these podcasts. I never really, sad to say this, but I never really understood this whole podcast thing. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I've never really been a social media person or a person to do these kind of things. I've watched some of your guys' things, and I'm like, I don't know how I'll handle it. I don't know if I do this well or not. I don't know if I
don't think about it and just do.
Just have
the
that
algorithm will tell you if you're doing something good or not when it comes to making your clips. The podcast, the easiest way though, how we got, I guess, better at it is just really just truly thinking you're just sitting down and having a conversation. Like we selfishly get to talk. Anyone within the industry, it's really easy to have a conversation. We can sit down and talk for an hour, 2 hours easily. When it comes to someone who's not in the industry, it's just business. Now that I should say now that I'm completely on the other side of the coin, my dad's stepping away in 2020, and it's like, all right, we got to actually we're running the business. Like we actually pull ourselves out of installing. Like I really don't install that much anymore. Maybe if I'm lucky, an overestimate right now would be 1,000 feet a year I'm putting up in flat glass. Maybe 20, 30 cars I'm probably getting my hands on. Otherwise, I'm not doing much of any installing anymore.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and even last year, before the competition, I mean, if you look at my tint list, you can go back from when we first started using it, what my name was put on for me being an installer to what it is now. It's like went down 50% or more every single year for the past 3 years.
Yeah, it sounds like 90.
I hardly install anymore. And like when we were talking about business earlier, like one thing we did this past year is we hired a business mentor. The company that we went with or that we ran across to help us start the podcast, Pineda Media. Ryan Pineda, I knew of him because he played baseball locally, and then he got drafted, and then he came back to town after he made it to AAA. I think he played for 7 or 8 years, and then that ended because making it to the show is incredibly hard to do. But he is a very dedicated person, so he first started with flipping couches. And then he turned that into flipping homes. And now he buys and flips homes across the entire country.
Wow.
So it was like we knew him. I saw his ad come across my social media and I was like, okay, clicked on it. And then we went through he gave us a call and explained why doing the podcast, which he'd already been pushing me for, is get the clips. Like the conversations are awesome. I love having the conversations. Now I get to pick business people's brains about. It doesn't have to be about tint. It's just about business, about how they are running their SOPs, how are they training their people, what's their onboarding, all that stuff. Because now we're at a point where it's like we're bringing more people in. It's like we don't have any of that set up. So now that's what I'm working on is that so we can scale and get bigger. But we ended up after we first 6 months of contract with the studio, because he had a studio. He's only about 15, 20 minutes away from us. And that was the other big draw too. I didn't have to buy any equipment. I get to go use all his equipment. We're using his editors. So like that was my easy end, because that was always where I told my brothers, like, how are we going to do all this stuff? Like, you got to give me skeleton. Like, tell me what cameras we have to buy. How much is this going to cost? Who's going to edit it? How are we going to edit it? All those things, because I don't want us to go into it like let's just try it. No, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it. So we got with them, we had like a 6-month contract. It was 4 podcasts a month. So 1 a week. Each podcast came with 7 clips. They edited them. And then as we grew that's when Jordan ended up telling me, he's like, I can do that. I can do that editing thing. That's what I went to college for. So he knows how to use a photo, Adobe Premiere. So we slowly transitioned because Ryan, he tried it, and then it just was a thing that I think that everyone wanted everything so personally edited to their business, and it wasn't meant to be that. It was meant to be like, here, this is the package you're getting. So he kind of stripped it away. And then after that happened, he was like, would you guys be interested in doing a one-on-one mentorship? And we're like, tell us more. So we sat down with him and we had a conversation of what it would be. And from that point, we meet with him once a month. We sit down, we go over our numbers. The first meeting was like 3 to 4 hours long. We went over kind of the company itself, the roles that we have within the company, what our numbers were. And then we started picking apart the company of, all right, where are we misfiring? Because at that, I think we were just over 2 million for the first time that year, but like not really much profit to show for it. And you're in business because you want to show a profit within your company. So we started ripping apart every piece of the company and the fact of like, all right, what's our offer? What's the product cost? What's our labor cost? Shouldn't be more than 33%. That's where your COGS should be. Like that's where I started getting like, oh, like Like I knew that we needed to dive into our numbers, but I didn't understand it. And in my eyes, he could have thrown almost any number at me, and I would probably try to convince I wouldn't have to convince him. He would have said yes. Would have to convince my sister, like, we need to spend this money. Like we can either guess for the next 2 to 3 years, and we'll probably figure it out. But the time that we're going to waste and the money that we're going to waste, because to think that we're going to be able to scale and make something bigger and find the holes within the company in a timely fashion without wasting a bunch of money. I mean, I don't think that highly of myself. Like I know how to install Tint really well. That's what I know. So it was like, I know where what success level he's on. I know what companies he runs. I know how he conducts his business. I'd rather just hire somebody to teach us. Because that was the one thing I think that's the one thing we never really did as a company, growing up through it. We never really invested inward. We never invested in training. It was always you learned. Like I learned.
I think going to the competitions and stuff in Panorama was.
But that's still not a real training course though. That's not, and that's so we hired him, and it was definitely, I would say at this point, one of the best things we did, because how we've grown our business now, like for over the past, this past year, the increase we've already seen in changing our offer, changing our prices. We weren't charging nearly enough. And I think most tint shops are in a spot of thinking like, oh, I can't charge more than that. Like, oh, yes, you
simple
can.
Things to change. I've helped a lot of my friends and things like taking deposits when you take jobs. I tell people that and they're like, fuck, I can't do that. I'm like, the hell you can't. Take $100 deposit on every job. The people who don't want to give you a deposit aren't going to show up for their job anyway.
Yep.
We now take deposits on every car, especially now with it being summer. Like I've already told my friend, like winter will be a little bit more lenient. But when I say more lenient, it's sure, if you don't want to leave a deposit, that's fine. But with your appointment time, what's going to happen is if I'm going to put you in this one category, this one slot to where you can drop your car off. It'll be ready in the next 2 to 3 days. Because what's going to happen is I have other slots that I charge a deposit for, because that guarantees work for my guys. And I know that person that's saying you're not going to come in or not, but those are slots that I sell. I'm selling that time slot. They put the deposit down as their time slot. If you want to drop your car off with no deposit, that's fine, but I'm taking that in that's a walk-in. Your car will get done when it gets done. And we're not going to rush the work. I'm not going to rush the work on the customer who paid for that time slot. Even with our house jobs now, we take 50% deposit. We tell them, I call him, well, he tries to collect on point if he closes. And if he doesn't, he lets them know, hey, if you do it, when you go through it and you approve it, talk to your spouse, you approve it, the next step's going to happen is it's going to trigger a notification within our system. We will then make an invoice. We're going to send it to you. It's going to have a link on it. Pay a 50% deposit. If you're able to do that before our guy reaches out, we usually will reach out within 24 to 48 hours to get it on schedule. When we do make that schedule, if we see that there isn't a deposit, we will still, because getting a hold of a customer is already hard enough sometimes. You play phone tag back and forth. When we call to schedule you, our manager, our flat glass manager, he'll get you on schedule. If there isn't a deposit, we will still make the appointment, but then he will let you know that you have 24 hours to have that deposit. Otherwise, if there's someone else who's trying to get that time and makes the deposit before you, they're going to get that time. So and we're 2 weeks out right now. And that's just the way it is. And the only issue we're having right now is just within QuickBooks. Like we put it on our proposals. We tell the customer if anything, maybe we have to find a more creative way to let them know. We'll get calls from customers. Hey, I'm not paying this whole thing. It's like you type in half. It doesn't, within the QuickBook invoice, it doesn't say 50%. But in our proposals, and when we tell them 50%, but we'll still get phone calls like, hey, I don't want to pay this whole thing. It's like, oh no, sir, you don't have to. Just go ahead and type half of it in. Oh, I didn't know that. It's like, it says on the proposal. I know for certainty he probably says the same thing over and over again, because I did sales for about 3 month stint. Like you say the same thing. It's the same spiel.
Well, then with the canned proposals now too, I literally go through the same thing on the canned proposal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the sales pitch never changes. Yeah. Even when it comes to when they call in for auto and cars, it's like someone will come in, well, your person told me this. I'm like, no, they didn't. Well, no, I'm like, the main reason why I know they didn't, and I won't sit there and argue with the customer, I'll just diffuse the situation, make them happy, move on, is what I'll tell them is like, I know what they do and do not say because I trained them. They're not going to say that because they don't know to say that. So there's no way they're going to tell you that they said they were going to do that, because I've given them a script. They don't have to repeat it verbatim, but they know to stay on script when it comes to these certain line item things. They're not going to tell you like, And people are like, oh, you say you go darker on your windshield. No, they didn't. They know that I won't go darker on windshields. It's just something I don't do. That's not a line I cross. And there are a couple other things I can't think off the top of my head. Same thing when people say, look, well, they told me it's going to be done in an hour. No, they didn't. We tell every customer 46 hours. And if anything, now we've extended to, we'll tell customers, it'll be done by 5 o'clock. We will text you if it's done earlier.
That's what we tell them. By 5:30, that's it.
Yep. Yeah.
They always try that shit. They always say, "Oh, somebody said it." Whatever.
It is, and you chalk it up when something like that happens. I just pull the team aside, I talk to them, and say, "Hey, it's learning experience. I know we're saying it, but obviously we might need to find a way to reword it, and it's going to change from customer to customer. Every person learns different. Every person hears differently, so you can't expect to say the exact same thing. Expect everyone to operate that way. It's not going to happen. So." But but the deposit was one of the suggestions he threw out is want the deposit so you can collect now. So now you have more free capital to make moves if you need to. You can invest or say if you need to do something, you already have the money.
The deposit was to keep people showing up.
Yes,
it wasn't
that too. It's got that dual effect. The big thing is, someone's not going to give up the $100.
Yeah,
especially with people calling in now and booking their appointments. It was 50, and I said move to 100. I got a little pushback on it, and I was like, try it.
We didn't get any pushback.
No, I got pushback from my inside sales. They were like, I don't know. I'm like, well,
same thing.
Let's give it a try.
We never did deposit on flat glass, and I even was like, we don't need to because nobody ever cancels. Nobody pushes back on the 50%. Never. They're okay, cool. I'll pay right now.
Mm-hmm. We on the automotive side, we would get people that didn't show up or whatever occasionally. When we did the deposits, that stopped. Mm-hmm. The only downside I told my buddies that are in the business, what the downside is to taking deposits is there is no fucking off no more. There is no days
you
where
don't get a little gap.
There's no gap no more. You're motherfucking jamming, dude.
Yeah.
There is no chilling out or nothing. There's no motherfucking.
That's a good thing though.
Well, and that's the biggest reason. That's what we push to our clients too. Is like the reason why we take a deposit is that we are getting work for our installers. We want to make sure, like the only way our installers make money is if they're installing. If someone doesn't show, it's not like they're making money. I mean, yes, we're not making money, but they're not making anything.
So your installers only make money when they're working.
If they want to make more than what base pay is, all of my installers they have their hourly rate to where in which usually none of them ever hit it because they always make way more than that. Is if you're going to be here 40 hours, I'm going to pay you for 40 hours. If I didn't get the work in here, that's not your fault. That's my fault. So you'll get your base hourly pay, but we pay commission hours. So like a 4-door car in ceramic pays, I think 4.5 or 5 hours. I think it's 5 hours. So if you can take 5 hours to tint it. I wouldn't suggest it. So you tint that car in an hour, you just made 5 hours. So you tint 2 or 3 cars in a day, you blow past the 8 hours instantly. But if we're that dead for some reason, I'm still going to pay you to be here, and the managers will have you do something around the shop. Like if we have an area that we've been looking to clean up or revamp, they'll do stuff around the shop. But I don't want people sitting here. If I couldn't get them to work, that's my fault, not yours. I will still pay you the 40 hours. And if all of a sudden shit gets really bad, obviously it's going to be a conversation where I'm not going to have you come in then, and I'm not going to waste your time and my time. If, say economy's hurting or something's really hurting, it's like, then we're going to have a conversation. But beyond that, from having you come in, you're going to get paid your 40 hours no matter what. But it's hardly ever they ever get laid up on 40 hours. Like it doesn't really happen. So.
Yeah, and flat glass is obviously square footage. We're going to have to finish this up during, or at least do a round 2 during SEMA Summit.
Yeah, I think we should try that. I mean, it'd be easy to come out an extra day or something or whatever. I mean, even
because I know during SEMA, we totally get it. So thank you for coming out, though.
No, man, this is awesome. I appreciate the hell out of it, and always enjoy hanging out with you guys. And I mean, I think this has been a great time.
Awesome.
No, I'm happy we fly. I knew this was going to happen eventually
Sorry
one day.
for the cuss words when I let them fly, but
no,
that's what I do.
We don't give a shit.
I get feeling real about it, and
it's the internet. People ask, "Can you cuss?"
I'd rather you be you and be authentic. That's the best thing that can happen.
Yeah, I mean that's just what it is.
Yeah.
But it's a cool place, man. I like the backdrop, and you guys did great with this place.
We will definitely be talking about
we're gonna need those little cases for the academy,
because that is something that I think
the trainers boxes.
Yeah,
I think it'll be.
That's like I said, because we plan on charging a premium for it. So, and I wanted to offer more than just, you're just getting knowledge.
Well, yeah, I mean, like
something.
People can leave with that, and it sets a. I don't know, it just sets a tone. I mean,
especially You brand it. You put a QR code on it too. Where did I get that? Oh, I went to this class. Here, scan here.
Yeah.
Like all of our things, like even our PPF squeegees, the boxes they come in, it has a QR code in there and it tells them how to use certain things or how to mix the mounting solutions. And there's a lot of education.
That's not bad either.
Yeah.
That's not bad either.
It's all about education. It's all about the fine details. And, you know,
that's the main reason why we're opening this up is because there's not really much of a flat glass academy anywhere. Yeah, some of the manufacturers will do training, but I mean, the auto ones popped up. There's auto ones. You can go to the California Tint Academy with, I can't think of her name. Roberta.
It's wild to me that some of the training, well, a lot of them really, you'll see the training facilities, and I'm not knocking them because whatever, that's their deal. But they'll have a training class and you'll see that they'll have piles of tools. Hey man, a lot of them are my tools, but they'll just have piles of tools. And I'm going to tell you what happens is the guys will grab maybe more than their share of that tool, or, you know, or maybe they don't get enough of that tool. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There needs to be a way to have a organization for that. There's just no organization in these classes. I went to a trade school for machine shop, and I remember that day, you know, the calipers, the micrometers, and that needs to be
make it more professional.
It needs to be more professional, man. I have that vision for this, and I'm going to do that. And it's not I'm going to do it. I'm doing it right now. That'll be available for these manufacturers, whether you know Lumar wants it, or XPEL wants it, or SolarGuard wants it. They may choose to do their own. But you know, most of them use my tools. They're going to be cut out to be used with my tools. The cool thing about it is the way I made this box is it's also able to be put other brands of tools in it too. I'm not just making this to where it only holds my tools. You could put other brands of hard cards in it. You know, I mean, it's well thought out.
That's smart. I love it. But no, we'll definitely continue this. Reach out, let us know when the summit happens, and we'll get something set up. And we'll go beyond too. What we'll do too is we'll sit down and talk again, but also we'll get some content of actually using some of the tools. And what I honestly do give me enough time, I'm gonna find a 2008 Honda Accord.
I'm down.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun. Like I'm gonna compete against one of our internal ISAs, our inside sales agents. He asked me if I could, or I forget how it happened, but I told him I bet him lunch is you get to be instructed how to do a door and cut it, install it, and then I'm going to do it blindfolded and see who turns out better. And I'm fairly confident I'm going to win that just because it's muscle memory. So, but we'll definitely do that. We'll reach out. This has been fun. I think this is probably, one of our longest ones too. And we could easily go another 2 hours.
It's fun. It's a blast.
So, guys, you know how this works. Follow along. We appreciate it. Subscribe. Until next time.
Yes. Thank you.